All right, we just wanted to go over this area between curve idea again with you, and make sure that we can kind of clear up anything maybe or reiterate some stuff that we talked about yesterday. So we are going to be finding the area between these curves. So you're not always given a picture. Sometimes you have a calculator to produce one, sometimes you don't. In this case, it's not necessarily true that you would be given a calculator because you have a quadratic with a negative and a +4, so up 4 and flipped over, and then you just have a line. So this would be one that we could ask you to graph without a calculator. 1, 2, 3, 4, so right there. And then again, we're going to be opening down 2, 3, 4, and 4. Okay, so there is my parabola. Not particularly drawn, but there you go. I'm just going to switch colors. So the other one is a line up 2 with a slope of 1, down, down. So I get this nice line here. They do meet at these points. It's kind of hard for me to draw it, but you've got that. Okay, we are asking you to shade where the area is that you're finding. And I know on the worksheet that you'll have today, some are done for you, some you have to create. So we'll shade there. And so that's the section, that's the only section that is bounded by those two curves. None of the other sections have ends on all sides. You got arrows taking you in all different spots. So that is our area. Okay. Now yesterday we talked about you can do it in terms of y, you can do it in terms of x. We're actually going to do this twice, the same problem. And so the first one here, let's do it in terms of x. Okay, so we'll do it in terms of x. So when we're doing it in terms of x, you've got the idea of it's going to be some type of integral with a top function minus your bottom function, and then dx or whatever, and you got to find those x values that go with that bounded region. Okay, so my top equation right now is my quadratic. So that's going to go first, x squared plus 4 minus your bottom equation is the line, and then very carefully putting parentheses, the first set doesn't have to be there. The second set definitely has to be there unless you distribute. And then this is a detail that obviously doesn't change the number answer, but because we're letting you type in your calculator, we have to see that you close your integral with a dx. Okay, so I know when you type in your calculator, you have to type the dx, and you need it on your paper as well. And again, especially with us letting you have the shortcut of that, we're going to evaluate on your calculator, because this is just a power rule. This doesn't have to be done on a calculator on like an AP setting, but we want to keep working on these areas versus taking time to do that. Okay, so now when I go to my picture, I got to figure out from x to x. So these are my 2 points, and so my x here is -2, and my x over there is 1. All right, let's transition to your calculator now. We're going to type that in. So again, it is math 9. We said -2 to 1 of, it was -x squared plus 4 minus, and I'm going to use parentheses, x plus 2, close it, and then there's that dx that we have to have. So dx, enter, and we get 4.5. And so on homework, we have to see the setups. We also obviously want the answer, but you have to have your setups. You can't just write the answers. All right, let's do this exact same problem again, only let's use in terms of y. So if I sketch my picture again, it's a little off, but it's got the idea. There we go. Okay, I'm going to shade my area one more time. And if you've got the same picture, just use the same one. There we go. Okay, so now when we do in terms of y, okay, then we're looking for some type of integral of a right side minus your left side, and it's going to be dy in this case because these are going to be y values that we use. So when I look at my picture and I kind of start analyzing, starting from top or bottom doesn't really matter. I'll start from the bottom, and I'm like, okay, here's my left side of my shape, and then I notice that it stops being the left side of my shape, this line in this case, it stops being the left side. I've got something else, which means I'm going to have multiple integrals to evaluate this in terms of y. Okay, so to start off, like we said, it's the line. I do need the line to be in terms of y, or x equals. So this thing is x equals y minus 2. Just for the sake of solving, I'm going to do this one too. So I would have negative x squared equals 4 minus y, which would then give x equals the plus or minus square root. So dividing by negative would switch your sign on both of those. So square plus or minus square root of y minus 4. And just a reminder, the positive square root is the right side of the parabola. And then your negative square root is the left side that you get there. So when I'm looking at this first piece, in terms of right and left again, the right side is my line, so y minus 2. The left side is my negative square root, so negative square root of y minus 4 dy. Okay. Now I still have to find those bounds, and they still essentially are these. I'm going to put a little dotted line right here because this is where we're splitting it. But now I need these in terms of y values. So in terms of y, that is at 0. And in terms of y, that thing is at 3. So again, y value, 0 to 3. Okay, left side is your line, right side is your parabola, but now I need which side of the parabola? The left side, which is the negative square root side. Okay. Now I want to add in the top area then. So my area on the top, the right side would be that positive square root. So square root of y minus 4. Okay, minus your left side, which is that negative y minus 4 dy, and that one then goes from 3 to 4, because it's got to pick up where that one left, and then to 4. Okay. So a lot more typing in your calculator. This one obviously is easier in terms of x, but I want to model that you can do it either way, and then just reiterate also the reason I did it this way is that you sometimes have to do 2 or 3 integrals if you've got different things on the top and bottom or right and left. There can be multiple integrals that show up. So the nice thing is, since I did the exact same area, I should be able to tell if these are right or not. I am going to do this so that I can see it. Okay, so my integral, again, math, oh, that didn't work. Let's slide right here. There we go. So math 9, and I've got 0 to 3. Now, your calculator doesn't need y, so I'm just going to do x's instead. Minus 2 minus parentheses negative square root y, or x in my case, minus 4. Okay, parentheses can be deadly on these problems. You got minus and negative, and so you need to close that parenthesis. I'm going to put dx here. Before I hit enter, I'm just going to go through and pair up my parentheses and make sure they each have a pair. So my beginning of my integral, my end, so that pair, and then those two pair on that minus square root. So I have it right. So I hit enter, and I had an issue. What is my issue? Y minus 0, 3. Oh, it should be a plus 4. You probably all were watching me before and wondering why I had that first equation wrong. Here, just to show you what I did. I tried to be fancy and do too many steps in one. So this equation, let's try solving that again. So okay, what I did is I moved too many things at one time. So I subtracted y, so it's 4 minus y. But then what I should have done is just add x squared over here, and then square root. So these functions are just backwards here. Okay, let's fix that. 4 minus y, 4 minus y. That makes a whole lot more sense. Okay, let's try that calculator thing again. Okay, so delete 4 minus x. Enter. There we go. All right. Then my next one, I remember you get 2 of them now. So math 9, 3 to 4. Okay, if I go back to here and just slide it a little bit so I can see it. So I would have the square root. Again, I'm going to use x. So 4 minus x. Yes, there's going to be some simplifying you can do. I'm going to just type it in like it's written, but yes, you can simplify these as you type them in. Just be careful to do it correctly and not do too much work at one time like I just did. Solving. Okay, and then we got to put those together. So that plus that thing. Okay, and it's off a little bit because I didn't put it all as 1. So, but that's okay. There's your 4.5, accurate to 3 decimals. So you are good. So I know your book assignment the other day, yesterday, had you doing a lot of these problems in terms of x and in terms of y, just like this. Today's homework is not going to have all of that in there. It's going to be a worksheet. So just to show you today's agenda. We didn't print off the worksheet, mostly because we want you sketching graphs. So even though we saw maroon yesterday, we didn't do that. So the first couple, we produce your graphs. Directions, it gets said, complete the following problems. Be sure to write your integrals set up for each problem and then evaluate on your calculator. For 5 through 8, you need to sketch the graphs and shade as well. So these first couple we did for you. You don't have to do them in terms of both variables. Some of them will get really bad if you do that. So you get to pick which strategy would be easier in terms of y or in terms of x. And that's why we supply the graph for you to get used to that. After that, then you're going to make the graph. And then again, you get to choose, should I do it in terms of x or should I do it in terms of y? And you don't have to do the other ones. We did give you answers on the bottom so you can check and see if you're doing them right. Answers obviously are not going to get you any points on the assignment. The integrals, the setups, the pictures, the sketches, the shades, those are the things that are going to get you actual points on this assignment then. Okay? All right, we are taking a quiz tomorrow and Thursday because we usually quiz weekly, so we've been having a lot less quizzes than normal. But we want to get back, look at that U substitution, some more Riemann sum, the summation stuff that we did last week, and then there could be some basic areas on there. We won't throw any of the tricky ones because it's been 2 days here, but we will have some basic ones on there as well. So good luck. If you have any questions, let us know.